In this lesson, I want to tell you about one of my useful plugins called Clayoo. Here is its menu. It allows us to create all sorts of organic shapes, smooth forms, and various complex rings. You can even use it for sculpting. Now I'll demonstrate it to you. Let's start with the primitives tab. Let's click on plane. It now creates a plane and opens up this kind of Clayoo menu for us. We can edit our plane, change the number of segments, and adjust its size. Now, look, if we turn on polygon mode, select a certain number of polygons and lift them up, they will rise sharply. But if we turn on this little cone here, everything becomes smooth and nice. This is what allows us to create rings. Next, we have a cube and a torus. Well, let's try creating a cube. We'll create a cube and give it more segments. Also, the more segments these objects have, the sharper they will be. This is quite a sharp-edged cube. What I just made, it's not as smooth as a sphere. There we go. After the primitives, there's the sculpt tab. Here are the sculpting functions. Let's try turning off the subdivision. To do this, you need to click this button here on the subdiv tab. Let's select our object and click on sculpt. Now it's no longer in that mode where you move things by points and all that. Now it's sculpting. Let's draw eyes and a mouth on our cube. There. After this brush, there's a rather sharp brush. For those who work with ZBrush, there's a similar brush there called Damn Standard. It allows us to carve into the object with this brush like this, or on the contrary, to create grooves on our object. There. Next, after this brush, there's a flat brush, which is used to make objects flatter. For example, I didn't like the mouse, I made some mistakes on it, so I went over it and it became flatter. You can clearly see this on the edges of the cubes, on their corners. They become flat and beveled when I go over them with this planar function. Next, after the planar brush, we have this kind of build-up. For example, we might need to create a surface like this on top of our cube. After that comes the pinch, which means sharpening. Let's try sharpening something somewhere. Let's create a little nose for him, for our little guy's cube. So I forgot that I have a negative brush selected. Here's the nose. Now we take the pinch tool. Let's try it. And now our nose has become a sharp little cone. After that comes the smooth tool. We can smooth things out. Go over and smooth something here. After smoothing comes the twist or rotation. So for example, up here we have this surface. With the twist, it's better not to overdo it. Otherwise it creates these, let's say, geometry glitches. Can roll up some of our places. Here we twist the corners. After the twist comes the grab. So for example, our nose is too short, we grab it. There! And we pull. See, it gradually stretches out. Here, I just slightly pull the geometry. If you grab and pull on the surface, look at the patterns it creates on our object. And now if we click OK right here, it will ask us, do you want to keep the original object or not? I will say no. And now only the object of this sea. It won't keep the original object, the one without all these dents, because I said no. And if you say yes, then both the sculpted object and the one without sculpting will remain. After sculpting, we have selection tools. We can select everything. Oh, the CR object's cool. So let's delete our cube and create a new one. Now let's try to select all, and it will select everything. Select all, right? Let's select everything. Try to select nothing, and it will highlight everything. Let's select a part and press invert selection it. We'll select everything that wasn't selected. Invert. Next. You get a little hole. Try selecting edges, those sharp ones. Let's turn it on. It allows us to select edges like this. After that, there are edges that are, on the contrary, all smooth. Then there are all the open ones, like selecting the edge of a hole. Here, it selects them. After that, you can select coplanar edges. On one side, like this, coplanar. On the other, it selects. So we place it in the middle like this. Let's try coplanar. It selected these two. Click, click. Now we have this kind of open cube. We can start drawing by selection. Click, we drew, and it removed the excess for us. Let's use the drawing tool again. Ooh! And another hole appeared. Next is to expand the selection. So we select, let's say, a polygon somewhere and press expand. Like this, like this, like this, like this, it will start to grow. And we can also shrink it the same way, like this, like this, like this, like this. Next, the following steps are involved. First, you need to select this loop by clicking on it, and then after that, proceed to select the ring, ensuring that both the loop and the ring are properly highlighted before moving on. Just like in 3ds Max, if anyone has used it, there are such functions there. Now Rhino will think for a bit and select our cube there. It selected and deleted it. After selection comes the subdiv tab. In it, we've already seen the edit mode function, which allows us to turn off subdiv mode and switch, for example, to sculpting mode. Next are the primitives, which are placed over here. Then comes creation, add. So let's try to create a plane. Subdiv creation, add from here to here, here, and here. And it will create a little polygon for us. Like this, like this, like this, like this. See, that's polygons. Also, in creation, there's create surface from curve. Let's draw some kind of curve. There, we've drawn it. We can move the points. Let's select it and enable create from curve. There, it creates a surface from the curve for us. This is for the height. We can enable cap so it closes it off for us. Press enter and it will create a shape like this from our curve. Let's select the element. Let's delete it. Just like that. Next in creation, there are loft from 2 curves, sweep along 2 paths. But all these functions are also available in Rhino. Cube, revolve, make a line like this, project, and rings. You can create a simple ring. Let's delete everything unnecessary. Everything except the ring. Here's the ring. And we can create, for example, a diamond shape. It asks you to choose either a diamond or a curve. We can create a diamond. There, I made a diamond. We can lift it up. Select the point and use this little thing here. Just like that, along the axis. And move it to where we need it. We can enable the gizmo to move it with arrow keys. Let's place it. We've placed our diamond, and now we can use that very function in creation. And here it will create a holder for the diamond like this. We can make it more rounded like this. Here, just like that. And now we get a simple little ring like this. Now that we're ready to edit our 3D model, let's start by selecting specific parts of the mesh. For example, we can choose these 2 polygons. Once selected, we can use the extrude function, which pulls out new geometry from the chosen polygons, making the shape more complex and adding depth. After extruding, you'll see that the polygons extend outward, creating new faces and giving the model more volume. Besides extrude, there are other useful tools. The inset function lets us create a smaller polygon inside the original, which is great for adding detail or making the edges sharper. Using an inset here, we can form a unique, ring-like structure that stands out because of its unusual shape. There are also additional editing options available. The rack tool can bend or conform the geometry. Then here are the selection tools, which are placed separately. The settings for these hotkeys, the settings themselves, and help. And you can tell them how many stars to give them. Say how good their plugin is. We can exit subviewer mode and admire our ring. This is what we made. In the next lesson I'll talk about the Rhino Gold plugin. And you'll find out where I got this little diamond from. This was Robert FT with you. Bye bye everyone.